This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Stick around to hear more about the discount they're providing to the entire upper echelon community. All right, today's topic is a little bit complicated for the crypto uninitiated.
But we are initiated, aren't we, Bruce?
Here's the hook. Tether is the elephant in the room right now because Tether and its executives seem to hold very close and repeated proximity to organized crime and terrorism. Let's begin. The very first thing that we need to do is understand the current news landscape. What is Tether? What's going on in the world causing them to be scrutinized? And how does it all fit together? Let's start with this. Back in 2021, according to CCN, Hamas, an organization currently center stage of the global news cycle for perpetrating horrifying acts of terror on Israel, released a collection of their preferred crypto exchanges. The organization notoriously uses crypto as a funding mechanism, and there's plenty to say about the names on that list, like Binance, for example. I'm working on a project about them behind the scenes. But one name in particular is the focus for today, and that is Bitfinex. See, Bitfinex is a troubled exchange that has been subject to some of the worst security breaches in the entire industry, but more notably, the exchange is owned by a parent company called Bitfinex Incorporated. Now, Bitfinex Incorporated is relevant for us today because Tether, the elephant in the room, is also closely affiliated with that company. It's actually relatively difficult, and has been for quite some time, to find details on the relationship between these firms, perhaps by design, but there are indications out there. Originally, Tether claimed to have formed a new partnership with Bitfinex in 2014, but it was later revealed through the Paradise Papers in 2017 that the same people actively control both companies. In addition, there was a recent buyback plan unveiled from Bitfinex to compensate victims of the notorious hack on Bitfinex itself. Or even further, official court documents from the Southern District of New York grouping Bitfinex with its affiliated Tether organizations. Without climbing too far up the corporate tree of life, we can simply say that Bitfinex, Tether, and Bitfinex are deeply woven together by joint interests. Why does it matter? Well, for starters, as we've already stated, Bitfinex is one of the preferred exchanges of Hamas, but the connections don't stop there. In March of 2023, citing incidents from 2017 and 2018, Tether was accused of falsifying documents with banks in order to gain bank access in Taiwan and Turkey, because they and their sister company, Bitfinex, had been cut off when Wells Fargo abruptly clamped down on crypto. Now, to understand this, we need to outline what Tether is and the purpose it serves, because the elephant is very large and only seems to be growing. Crypto is highly unstable. Everyone knows this, everyone loves or hates this, and everyone finds a way to work through it. However, that level of instability makes the asset very difficult to use for the purpose of trade, and also leads to difficulty when interfacing with traditional banks. In simple terms, Tether is a US dollar equivalent. A stablecoin is what it's called, where one Tether is equal to $1, and the token allows traders to keep their money in the crypto market if they want to, while avoiding volatility risk. Instead of going back and forth between banks and regular crypto, thereby taking days at a time to fulfill conversions, as a result of anti-money laundering laws, they can simply convert back and forth between Tether and whatever asset or token it is that they want to trade. On the surface, it's quite obviously useful for traders and speculators, but behind the scenes, it has a dark side. Tether was originally backed one-to-one by US dollars, so they say, big air quotes there, it was originally backed. But in 2019, a Tether lawyer admitted that no, it actually wasn't. The new claim was 74% backing of US dollars and US dollar equivalents, which means we don't know what it means because Tether won't tell us. In the official settlement from the Southern District of New York, it was made clear that there were periods of time where Tether wasn't backed by anything, and the settlement also revealed that Tether's primary bank was called Deltec. Flash forward, and Deltec Bank had tens of millions of dollars seized by authorities during money laundering investigations. Oh, and Deltec Bank is also wrapped up with Sam Bankman-Fried, as well as FTX, obviously another large crypto hellscape news cycle that's unfolding right now in the media. And the entire thing is a spiderweb of corruption, but you get the point. Tether has been penalized for misleading customers about the state of its US dollar backing reserves, and there's a lot more we could discuss here, but I'll move on to the next major point. All right, time to pay the bills and offer the community a steep discount in the process. Surfshark, for those that don't know, is a VPN, virtual private network, and VPNs protect you from a lot of things. No solution does everything, but Surfshark certainly does protect against certain types of phishing attacks, malware, DNS tunneling, DDoS attacks, and also shields you, to an extent, from the constant big tech phenomenon of data harvesting, as well as tracking. For those who care more about raw entertainment value, Surfshark unlocks additional content on streaming websites, a big example of that being Netflix. Just change your region and enjoy increased options in your video content library. Surfshark can get you around regional censorship, such as government restrictions on certain websites, which is good. Government restrictions of what you can and can't see also seems to be a growing problem in the world, which is very bad. And Surfshark also offers encryption, IP protection, modification, and more. Surfshark operates completely separate infrastructure from NordVPN. I make it a point now to always say that. Some of you know why, some of you don't. And Surfshark also maintains a warrant canary. Good thing to have. If you know, you know. If you choose to support the channel and click the link down below in the description using promo code Echelon, you can take advantage of a branded special offer for the upper echelon community. Again, that's promo code Echelon with a link down below for a community-wide special offer. Big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring the channel. During the most recent accusations against Tether, which claim that the company falsified documents in order to regain banking access, a particular name pops up. I'm certainly mispronouncing this, but a bank account under the name Deniz Royal Distikaret was discovered in Turkey. And it turns out that this particular account was directly named in a Department of Justice indictment where the account was laundering money, a lot of money, raised by Hamas, and also transacting heavily with accounts at Bitfinex. See, it's all interconnected. According to analysis done by Elliptic in the aftermath of a recent operation in Israel that seized $7.7 million in crypto from Hamas-linked crypto wallets, the majority of those funds had been raised and transacted through Tether. In 2020, unsealed DOJ documents highlighted that Tether usage had facilitated a drug cartel money laundering operation that even went so far as to bribe government officials. And while it's obviously true, just objectively true, that any financial instrument can and is used as a criminal tool in some cases, the reality is that Tether is adjacent to criminal activity on a level that is becoming unrivaled in modern finance. According to research from Inca Digital, quote, "There is significant evidence that USDT is where money laundering is occurring. USDT's use for massive cross-border remittances is preferable to other coins like BTC because its price is stable. Tether does not require any centralized KYC, know your customer, for people using USDT, as there is no reliable method for identifying launderers from traders without getting data from exchanges using USDT." End quote. That's fairly precise, but let's do a general recap. Hamas, in the aftermath of now executing a historically significant and terrible atrocity, has openly stated that their preferred funding mechanism is crypto. More specifically, one of their preferred individual exchanges is Bitfinex. Bitfinex is controlled by the very same people that control Tether, both tightly linked to iFinex as well, and Tether is becoming the preferred method of criminal money laundering on a global scale, representing the majority of crypto funds raised by Hamas over recent years. The only way that law enforcement can differentiate between traders and criminal money launderers is with data from the exchanges, and yet Bitfinex, again, is controlled by the same people who control Tether, which has historically lied about its backing reserves, allegedly falsified records to gain access to banking in Turkey, where that particular account then surfaced in a Justice Department investigation, tied once again to Hamas and Bitfinex. You see my point? Do you see the spider web of connections here? Another way to look at this, and some additional information comes from Protoss, who've actually done some excellent reporting from what I see on a variety of topics. I have grown to really like that outlet. This one is just a list where Tether executives brushed shoulders with criminals, but it contributes to a picture in a rather decisive way. The CFO, Chief Financial Officer of Tether, working with an alleged tax dodger. The COO, Chief Operating Officer, working with an alleged thief. The CEO, Chief Executive Officer, linked to a VAT fraud firm, and its Chief Technology Officer, Paolo Arduino, is apparently a few steps out from people money laundering for Gaddafi. There's more, that's not even all of it, but it serves the purpose of demonstrating that basically the entire executive suite at the company are associating with alleged criminals. The interesting thing is that Tether has achieved such monumental size and status, it seems unlikely to fail as a result of traditional factors. See, people buy Tether from each other in a lot of circumstances, and they paid $1 for it, so they ask $1 in return. It's a token, a mechanism, and a way to send money to and from each other. But it's not hyper-susceptible to mass redemptions from the company itself. In the case of other collapsing tokens, the ones that blew up in spectacular fashion, there was a tidal wave of selling as a result of collapsing value. But for Tether, it's so big and so stable, that same type of danger becomes less pressing. It still certainly exists, don't get me wrong, and with the sheer level of frequency that the token finds itself in the center of scandal and criminal action, it seems likely just a matter of time. But when compared to other historic examples of token implosion, it's not exactly typical. Tether is the elephant in the room, the massive and consistently growing elephant where everyone knows it's there. They know that eventually they won't be able to ignore it. But for right now, it's not exactly squishing them, not yet, so they just look the other way, or they use it. They use it despite knowing that the entire system is backed by little more than commercial paper, and that Tether refuses to state what that commercial paper actually is out of fear that doing so would hurt their business. I don't know precisely what to make of that, but eventually it will all come crashing down. In the meantime, it continues on, appearing to be a new emerging global standard of criminal activity, including terrorism finance and a lot of interconnected associations with recent groups in the news, which are very troubling, and apparent numerous other ties to organized crime, terrorism, and illegal venture. Yeah, that's it. If you want to support the channel, please check out the links down below, primarily Locals, Patreon, and YouTube memberships, also the video sponsor, Surfshark, and more, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. Also, people have told me that I was repeating myself too much, so I chopped this video down to size and made it very concise. I could keep going on Tether for quite some time, but that seemed a little complicated, and maybe people want that. If you do, put it in the comments down below and I'll consider it. But yeah, this was based on feedback that I was repeating myself and things were too long, and I needed less words, so this is less words. Anyway, thank you all for watching, question everything, and have a nice night.